Dr. John McConathy is here with me now from the Clinical Trials Network, and we've had a number of interviewees mention the Clinical Trials Network and how important it is. Can you give us an overview?
Sure. So the Clinical Trials Network is an organization within SNMMI that really the primary goal is to help facilitate academia and industry advance radiopharmaceuticals to use in clinical trials, as well as actual approval by the FDA and use for patient care. So that's kind of the major overriding theme of what the CTN does.
Do you want more people to get involved, or how can people help facilitate that?
Sure. So I mean, there's a number of ways. One is obviously to be directly involved with the CTN. It's a fairly small organization, so there are opportunities, but I would say another way to get involved is if you're at an academic institution and are interested in a particular tracer or a particular trial that's already ongoing with CTN, talk with myself, Bonnie Clark, who is kind of the organizational force behind CTN, John Sunderland, or Mike Graham. We'd be happy to talk about it and see if it made sense. So, someone doesn't have to be a member of the CTN to be involved with the CTN.
Some wonderful things on the horizon. Speak specifically about some of the stuff coming up even in the next year.
Sure. So maybe more than two, but two of the major initiatives are actually trying to get a new drug application submitted for a somatostatin receptor PET tracer, gallium-68 DOTA-TOC. And this comes out of work at the University of Iowa, which is very exciting. Kind of coming back to your first question, how can people get involved? There's work to get academic centers involved in PSMA imaging research to harmonize their trials so that even though the studies are actually done at the individual institutions, we can take all of the data, put it together, and then have data that we hope will support the FDA approving it for use sometime in the future. That's not going to happen in the year, but this effort's going to start in the next year.
What do you see as the biggest challenges?
I think time and resources are always the biggest challenges in the big picture. In terms of accomplishing these things, a lot of it is really how do we coordinate different sites? How do we work with industry and academia effectively for both? We don't want to be partisan towards industry. We don't want to be academic to the point that industry is not interested. And so how do we negotiate and navigate that space? And I think we've done it successfully, but that's always something to keep in mind.
What do you think is the key to fostering that collaboration?
I think part of it is raising awareness. I think part of it is also, getting resources to be able to have people who could, at institutions and in CTN, to be able to actually do the coordination, because it's a lot of work. It's not just making tracers and doing imaging. It's the paperwork and regulatory aspects that also are incredibly time consuming.
But it's such important work for the field and moving forward.
Agreed. I mean, that's why we're doing it. And I think that, I don't want to sound pessimistic. Those are challenges that can be overcome. But, there are many ways I think we can do it. Some of it is resources in CTN, and some are sites that are collaborating with CTN, garnering resources at their individual sites.
Well, thank you for your work, and thank you for being here to talk about it.
Thanks for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about it.